Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Maggie and I'm finally back for another video. This video is going to be about my experience with getting my wisdom teeth out. First off, I just want to say I'm sorry that I have not posted in literally months. It has been a crazy few months. I haven't actually posted since COVID really started. I think I last posted in February. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm going to be making more videos and just talking about what went on in the last few months. Be on the lookout for that, and let's get into the video. So I got my wisdom teeth out on Wednesday, November 11th. On September 30th, I went in for a consultation just to get x-rays and to, you know, look at my teeth and just get and for the surgeons to get a visual idea of where like my wisdom teeth were and how it was gonna work. So they talked me through it, and we'll make an appointment within the next few weeks. You'll come in, we'll give you medicine, we'll give you an IV, we'll put you to sleep. You'll have the surgery, it's about 45 minutes, you'll wake up, you'll go home, blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. And they're like, do you have any questions? And I'm like, can I take my like anxiety medicine the morning of? And they're like, we prefer it if you don't. And I'm like, what? And they're like, because you'll come in and we'll give you an IV in the arm, and then we'll give you something to relax you and to help with your anxiety. And I'm like, okay. So to know that I can't take my medicine scared me. It was really scary because I didn't know if I was gonna, you know, have a panic attack or just like break down and not be able to go, and then that would just spiral everything out of control. But I ended up doing okay. I was very nervous, don't get me wrong, but I ended up getting in the building, going up, and yeah, they gave me the IV, which, you know, hurt, but the nurses there were really nice. They kept talking to me, and I think the constant talking to me helped put my mind at ease and kept me distracted, because they were asking me about what animals do I have, and I found out one of the nurses also grew up on a farm, and she also had her own horse. And then by the time I knew it, they're like, tell me if you feel something a little strange. And I'm like, because they gave me the relaxer thing or whatever. And then like 3 minutes later, I'm like, I was looking at the big TV they have in front of me to like show my x-rays, and I'm like reading it, and I'm like, oh, that's blurry. And I was like, I think I'm feeling something. And they're like, okay. And then they give me another dose, and then that was it. I don't even remember going to sleep, which is the weirdest part, because I remember, you know, getting some of the medicine, but I remember them putting like the oxygen thing in my nose and the heart monitors on me, or the heart stickers, the things to monitor my heart. But I don't remember actually being put to sleep and going to sleep. The next thing I remember is coming out of the anesthesia, and like everything was blurry, and I'm hearing multiple voices, and I'm opening my eyes, and sadly, I didn't do anything crazy or extremely funny. I know I was kind of hoping I would, but I also wasn't, because for one, my mom couldn't come upstairs with me because of COVID. So even if I had done some strange stuff, I wouldn't have been able to get filmed. So I'm kind of glad that nothing happened. The weirdest, funniest thing that did happen was, as we were driving home, I see my brother going like standing outside his doctor's office. So I'm like, look, I want to say hi. And then I was like, oh, he's going into an appointment. And my mom like started to drive off, and I started to cry because I couldn't see him, which is hilarious, because like I wouldn't have expected myself to cry because I could see him go to the doctor. Like, so she turned around and we're like waving, and then he gets like, his name gets called, so he has to go in for his appointment, and like way before we can even say like hi and stuff. And then I'm like, so then, but that's the craziest thing, the funniest thing that happened, which honestly isn't that funny, but I guess I'm an emotional person on anesthesia and stuff. Well, now we know. Anyway, back to coming out of anesthesia. I remember just everything being kind of hazy. It was hazy, and it was like quieter than normal. Like I could hear everyone talking around me, but it was kind of muffled, that's the word. It was muffled. And then they were talking to me and said, you did great. And also the surgeon, my doctor, love him, he's amazing. He's such a good doctor. He could tell I was very, very nervous. He knew I was very, very nervous. And he said he did great. They called my mom saying she's out of surgery, she did great, she's waking up. It'll be another 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll call you and tell you she's coming down. Because of COVID, everything is completely different. Like if you're 18 or older and I'm 19, you have to go up alone, which is scary for me, but I did it. And my mom's like downstairs in the parking lot in the car just waiting. So I continue to wake up. They tell me to stand up, and like the nurse was there. I think her name was Amanda. She's like, stand up slow. It's gonna feel really weird. You're gonna feel off balance. You're gonna feel dizzy. Don't worry, that's normal. So I stood up and I was, whoa. And she's like, I got you. And then she walked me down. I had the gauze in my mouth, right? So I couldn't speak properly, and I was still coming out of the anesthesia, and I was on pain meds and antibiotics and stuff. I remember hearing them saying they had only gotten 2 when I was just coming out. They were telling me, but obviously it didn't register with me. The original plan was to get them all out. Want to do it all at once. But she's like, we only got the bottom 2 out. We left the top 2 because this one was still way too high. And this one was still high, not as high as this one, but it was high. And because they were both too close to my sinus cavity and the nerves, that they didn't want to cause complications, which I totally get, but I was very disappointed because I had just wanted to, for one, hate dentists. Nothing against the people themselves, I just don't like getting things done on my teeth, in my mouth, having anything to do with dentistry. So to learn that I would have to go back to get the same thing done, it made my anxiety ramp up. But it was also in a way a good thing because I had gone through this part and I knew what the next part, like what it would be like again. So I kind of could, I learned. And I think that the next time I go in, I won't be as anxious. Obviously I'll still be anxious, but I'll know more of what to expect. And I'm 19, and I remember my dentist started like a couple years ago talking about, have your wisdom teeth grown in? Are you having any pain? And I'm like, no, nothing's come in. And then I went back earlier in the year, and they're like, did you get your wisdom teeth out? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, you should probably do that. And I was saying that, I told my mom, I was like, it's a good thing that I didn't get them out like when we first started talking about them a couple years ago, because then we would have gotten in there and probably not been able to do anything. So I would have gone through everything and got nothing done because they're still really high up. These ones, my bottom ones, were really impacted. So that was a bit more painful and a bit more sore and tight. Anyway, the plan for the upper 2 is to wait 1 year, go back in and get another x-ray and have another consultation to see if they've lowered a little bit. And then if so, I'll go in a few weeks later and get those 2 out. It was a little scary knowing that my teeth are right like up super close to my nasal cavity and my nerves. And I'm glad that I didn't get them out. The whole experience was, I think it was much better than I originally planned. I honestly expected. I didn't fully have an expectation on what I thought the surgery would be. So as I said earlier, I have an anxiety disorder, and doing new things or doing surgeries or things in my mouth with dentists is very anxiety provoking. So I was very thankful that they gave me some anxiety medicine right as they got the IV in, because that helped. Because you just have to get in the building, get in the room, get your IV. And the nurse said herself, the IV is the hardest part because you're getting put to sleep, so you're not going to remember anything. So the IV is the most painful part. On Friday, I went in for a post-op check. It was 10 minutes. They just wanted to check, make sure I was healing right, no dry socket, and all that. And I got the okay. The one thing that my surgeon did mention was that I should be like exercising my jaw because it's tight, and it'll just help. It was like, do these exercises, like going from side to side or in circles, opening and closing. I still feel it right here when I do that. I probably just looked so weird. The medicine. So I was given 2 different painkillers and an antibiotic. So the antibiotic I took for 10 days just to prevent any infections or anything like that, which I'm pretty sure everyone will send you home with an antibiotic. And the other 2 were pretty much just really high doses of Tylenol and ibuprofen. The Tylenol that I was given did have an extra painkiller in it. That was a low dose of a very high painkiller. And he was like, don't take that for more than 3 days because it is addicting. It is addictive. So I did that for 3 days, and 3 days is the worst days. And then from there, you just get better. And then I just stuck to the high dose of ibuprofen, and then I got a higher dose of Tylenol with none of the other higher meds in it. So I was able to do that. I know that there are people who are very hesitant to take painkillers. I understand that. I'm the same way. I don't like to take painkillers unless absolutely necessary, but I also think that it's better to not be in a ton of pain, because being in way too much pain prevents your body from healing, and overall does nothing. Like, it just makes your well-being worse. So I would recommend, if you're not a huge fan of painkillers. Whoa, my light just shut off. What? Hey, I'm back. My ring light just decided to die, so that's great news. So now I'm just using no ring light, so that's why the huge lighting changed. Anyway, I completely forget where I left off. I think I was talking about the painkillers, and just take it slow, but take what you need. Don't take too much. Listen to your doctor's recommendations, and just do what your body tells you. Do what you feel you need to be able to function. Okay, so aftercare. So after you get out of, and you get home, you're gonna have gauze in. For me, I only had them in for a little bit because the bleeding subsided and stopped. So then after I took all the gauze out, I pretty much just continuously iced my face. So I would have ice packs on both sides, just because I wanted to, reduce the swelling. And it also just felt really good. So I just kept doing that. That was one thing that I recommend doing, because it really helps. And even after I didn't need the ice for the swelling, I still used it, because it just felt really good. And after the first 24 hours, you're supposed to swish around warm salt water in your mouth. You can resume brushing or like wearing your retainers. Just be careful of the extraction sites. I actually waited a little longer. They sent me home with a little syringe, and 5 days after that, I was supposed to start putting warm salt water in the syringe, and only in the bottom ones. Well, I only got the bottom ones out, but they say only on the bottom ones. I don't really understand that, but okay. To start squeezing salt water near the extraction site, just to make sure that no food gets stuck in there. Oh, and I'm still doing the syringe. Actually, you're supposed to do it for 1 to 2 weeks, twice a day. And I am back to wearing my retainers and brushing, just like I would on a normal day. Next is food. They said completely soft and like baby food consistency for the first 24 hours. So for the first day, I literally had pudding and Jello and mashed potatoes. My instructions were 5 days I have to have a soft food diet, and then after 7 days I can start to eat, or I can get back to eating my normal foods. I would recommend Jello, pudding, yogurt, ice cream, scrambled eggs, smoothies. What else did I have? Yeah, that's pretty much all I lived on for about a week. So I was really glad to get back to eating regular food. I also didn't drink enough water. Like, I drank water, but not as much as I should have. So, oh my god, my cat just opened the door and she scared me. I don't know if he's hung up my hand. So also, I think this is really creepy and also really cool, is the left side, the right side where I got my tooth out, I got a stitch or a couple stitches and it was closed. But on the left side, they didn't do a stitch to close it. They just left it open, and I didn't realize that until a few days after. and I was like, crap, there's like a hole in my freaking mouth, and I was really examining it. I was looking at it with a mirror and a flashlight, and I was really examining it because I was so confused because it was different than this. I was like, is this supposed to be closed? Because if it is, it's now open. That's not a good thing. I was freaking myself out and also irritating it because I was fiddling around with it so much. But I was looking in there and I saw that it was like some white, and I was like, wait, that looks like there's still a tooth in there. So I Googled it, and apparently it depends when they're in there taking out the tooth. It depends on if you need a stitch or not. And apparently this one I did and this one I didn't. Apparently the white thing is like the bone. And that really grossed me out and freaked me out. And I was like, am I actually looking at my bone? Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. It may not have been a bone. I don't know what it was. But either way, it was extremely gross. Just like to think about there's a hole in my mouth. And even now there still is. So it's very annoying. I will say that since there is a hole, less now because it's not as really painful anymore, but at the beginning my tongue just automatically wants to go and like fiddle. That sounds really weird. That's really weird, but it's something that I just involuntarily do, and then it's like, ow, that hurt. But I thought that was really interesting and gross. The main suggestions I have for people is to not get, like, don't get too nervous, don't overthink it, take your medicine responsibly, follow the instructions given to you by your dentist, and drink lots of water so you don't get dehydrated. And just keep your extraction sites clean. Those are my big pieces of advice. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I hope it helped someone, and I hope it made sense. I apologize, it kind of was all over the place, but I did my best. I gotta get back into this video making because it's been a while and I'm kind of rusty with it. Yeah, so if you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Subscribe if you would like, leave a like, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.